Alright. Welcome to SideboardMTG. My name's Eric, and it's time to talk about a little MTG. With Dominaria pre-release coming up this weekend, and all of the pre-order prices starting to come out, and all the pre-orders going out, I thought I wanted to talk a little bit about some of these cards, and what better way to talk about, which cards are going to impact, different formats and things than to look at the prices. Remember, Magic's all about supply and demand, so if a lot of people are wanting a certain card, then that means a lot of people are actually thinking that that card is going to affect the meta. So what I wanted to do today was pull up TCGplayer and go through the highest priced pre-ordered cards. We're gonna go through pretty much anything over $2 and just kind of talk about those a little bit, and see what those cards are going to be doing for the meta. So I hope you guys enjoy this. This is kind of going to be my version of talking about all the new cards that are coming out. I think we should just kind of go with what the community says. If you've got hundreds and hundreds of people, or thousands even, saying I've got to have Karn, then Karn's price is going to go up. So that means that there's all of those people trying to run Karn, or expecting to run Karn. So that's where we're kind of going to start off. Karn is my example because it is the most expensive pre-order card in the new set. So we're going to start there and kind of go from there. I hope you guys do like the show, and if you do like it, then give it a thumbs up. And if you like standard content in general, then this is probably a really good channel for you. You might want to subscribe to the channel. Also, remember, manatraders, if you're playing online, you don't actually have to purchase any of these cards. You could always just rent. And manatraders, if you use SideboardMTG 15, they will give you 15% off your first 3 months. That's a pretty good deal. And when we get to talking about, I don't know, let's say the price of 3 Karns, you could rent everything in standard for the entire Dominaria block for the price it would cost you to purchase 3 Karns. So yeah. Either way, let me kill this music. We'll change the thumbnail and kind of go from there, guys. Alright, let's stop that. Let's get rid of this. What's up, man? We've got a lot of chat already, man. I just cleared the chat and you guys are like, bam, right there. I guess I'll go ahead and apologize for last night. I had a lot of things to do, and then my coffee time episode got away from me and ended up going almost 3 hours long. That's longer than a normal league, but it was good to just sit around and talk to people. So anyway, no, we're talking today, buddy. We're going to be talking live, and unfortunately, I'm going to try to move through these fairly quickly, so I don't actually want to pull up the Discord and get other people in here talking. You guys want to let me know what you think about this? Then you can drop something in the comments. You can say hey, I think this card is going to be worth $35, or I think this card is going to hold its value. That's actually what I'm more interested than anything else. Like, yeah, I know that most cards are going to drop right after about 2 or 3 weeks in, once the meta starts to settle. But I think that for the most part we'll be able to tell whether or not a card will be worth playing based on how many people already agree and think that that card is worth playing. Zelfie, Zelfa, Zelfie, Zelfie, Zelfa, Zepha. Ah man, I messed it up big time. Thank you very much, sir. Goblin Chain Whirler for the win. I actually like that card. That card's pretty good. And I think other people like it, so I am pretty sure we'll be seeing it. I am going to leave up my arena overlay here. I just think that it's probably going to look a little bit smoother while blowing the cup up. I think it's going to be a little bit smoother, so here we go, guys. For right now, if you want to pre-order an entire case, it's going to be like 514 bucks. That's about what you would normally expect. Now, box at $90. And this is all from TCGplayer. There should be a link in the description box if you guys want to check out TCGplayer. There's other places you can go for pre-orders: Channel Fireball, Troll and Toad, some other places like that. But I've always just kind of been a TCG player kind of guy, and that's kind of what I'm going to use because, even when we do trades, most people, use TCGplayer for pricing. So at least it gives us a good balanced middle ground. And so many people I know use it. I feel that, most of the Magic community probably is using TCG players. So I think that their prices are going to be more accurate, right? Like, let's just say more accurate. How's that? Anyway, as soon as you get below a box, the number one priced card here is going to be Karn. Now, Karn's he's a pretty beast card, right? I mean, this is a colorless 4-mana Planeswalker. You're going to be able to play this in any deck, period. His +1 is reveal the top 2 cards of your library, and opponent chooses one of them. You put that card into your hand, exile the other with a silver counter on it. Now, he's got a -1 as well. Put a card you own with a silver counter on it from exile into your hand. And the -2 on him is create a 0/0 colorless construct creature token with this creature gets +1/+1 for each artifact you control. Honestly, I actually think Karn might have some viability in forms other than just standard, but I know that this card is going to be around in standard. That the +1 does allow you to get another card. You can -2 him to put a blocker up. I think that he's going to get a lot of play. For the Horde here says that he's going to get slot of play in get a lot of play. I think in Modern. Karn is going to be powerful, but only 4 mana to get rid of, and a braid's away, and a braid away from shutting down whatever deck he is built around. But then again, you're taking slots to shut it down. So actually, I don't even think that you got to put Karn in an artifact deck. I think that most decks that are going to abuse him the most in standard, let's look for example, something like Grixis Midrange. Grixis Midrange can put this down and get card value out of it. At that point, they're probably going to just be going uptick, 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 uptick until I need a specific card that you have exiled. And then I'll downtick to get specific card draw. And that's in that case, it'll almost be tutor, but I actually just think Karn's just going to be an uptick monster. I think people are just going to be ticking it up, 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 and then when they need a specific card to answer something, they'll go through their pile of silver counter cards and pull one of those back. So I expect that in gameplay we're going to do this like we used to do with Karn. Just everything that is exiled, I'll put one in my hand and I'll just stack the other one under Karn. I expect most people will just play it like that. This way they don't have to worry about that counter or whatever. Everything under Karn will just be exiled with a silver counter. I think that'll be the simplest way to do it, and that's how I plan to use this card. I plan to use this card, and I think this card's going to get a lot of play. 4 mana Planeswalker that is actually 5 loyalty and jumps to 6 the turn that it comes down. I think this is going to be very, very good. Absolutely, Mardu vehicles. I mean, there's so many decks that you can put this in. Even decks that don't have artifacts, this card is going to be great. Great point. He's going to be rough. You hope you pull him Friday or Saturday. I hope you pull him too, sir. I sure do. That will be a instant money back right there from for your pre-release. Red Green Eldrazi. Exactly. He's going to fit in almost anything. I mean, it's just going to be one of those card advantage cards that it's going to give you, the worst of the top two cards of your library, or the card of your top two cards of your library that currently doesn't answer the board. But that means if the other one did answer the board, then next turn you don't even have to worry about having a bunch of cards. You just take the one card that they wouldn't give you last turn. So at that point, it automatically requires an answer. What's up, Alex? How you doing, buddy? Yo to you too, sir. Either way, I do think Karn is absolutely worth all of the hype. This card is real. We are going to be playing with it a lot, and that's cool. I like it. Something as powerful and as legendary as Karn, and I mean legendary in the sense of legend. Wait for it, dairy, right? Like, Karn's going to be bad, dude. He is going to be so good. Watch out. Goes right beside Chandra. Just put him in anything. You're probably going to get some value out of it. So imagine this combined with with things like Saheeli's Top or Brainstorm. Exactly. I mean, again, they're going to give you the worst of the top two cards, but that's normally not going to be that bad. Especially if you're just like brainstorming, you put some trash on top of your deck, you get one of them back, and it gets rid of the other one for you. So now you're only one card of your brainstorm, left. You put your best card 3 cards down that you really want to get, and you draw it the next turn. That's probably not going to be bad. That's probably not going to be bad at all. It's funny to think of some of the things that count as being historic now. 1/1 servo tokens. The historic 1/1 servo token. We were talking about that in coffee time, the loading ready run. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Historic. Anyway, sorry, sipping my coffee. Ornithopter. The historic Ornithopter. I was joking about Short Sword earlier, how it's historic. Anyway, Karn, $35. Probably going to be worth it. Might even go up, guys. Honestly, I mean, if the Pro Tour, like when the Pro Tour comes, and we will have a Pro Tour this time, and this card is played in a bunch of those decks, I would expect to see Karn shoot even 40, 45, 50. The pre-order prices are not over yet. He may still go up. Right? See, he's historic. You've put him in many, many decks, right? The Eternal play, he's 100% going up. Right? Exactly. Exactly. I think that buying Karn right now at $35, you might actually be saving a couple pennies. You wait a little bit longer, and it's going to start gradually going up. This card's well priced, well built, can protect itself. So hey, not bad. All right. He is currently worth more than the bundle. What? Next here, we've got Mox Amber. Now, not exactly a piece of power, but very, very close, right? Like, we're talking 0 mana. If you have a legendary down, you can then create mana. I know some people are talking about the 1 mana green creature, the like Life Sage or something like that. Pashiri. Anybody know what I'm talking about, right? It's like the only 1 mana legendary in standard right now. But anyway, you can put this down on like turn 1 with a Pashiri. Yeah, there we go. Ovia Pashiri. Yeah, I'll just keep calling her Pashiri. All right, I think I'm pronouncing that part of the name properly, so we'll just say Pashiri. Anyway, so yeah, I think the Amber. You can't get on the Amber hype train, and I've seen some dumb things it can do, but for standard, you're not convinced. See, that's where I'm at. I actually also think... See, I was trying to brew some stuff with like this and Mox Opal and stuff because I read the card wrong. It has to be a legendary creature or a Planeswalker. You can't have like a legendary artifact or something like that. So like I can't throw this and Darksteel Citadel and Mox Opal down on the same turn and then like have 3 mana. Like that just won't work. But I could play a 2 mana legendary and then activate it. So I mean there are some things you can do there. Anyway, this is another almost piece of power. Like the card is going to be good. I don't know if it will be as good as something like Mox Opal because it's easier to get 3 artifacts than it might be to get a legendary down. But I can see the hype on this, and I do think that the price point on this card will drop some if it doesn't see some major play. Um, where am I pre-releasing it? I'm going to be trying to do my pre-release in at Tupelo Sports Cards in Tupelo, Mississippi. Like I think that's where I'm going to be trying to do my pre-release. So we are looking for some more people. They're trying to have 32 people there. So anyway, Mox Amber. I think the price is going to drop a little bit. I actually expect this one to settle down. I don't think that we're going to see this in as many top tier decks as most people might think. Yeah, the card's good. I'm not saying anything about the card not being good, but I don't know in standard if it might be as good as we think it is. This might actually be a card that just kind of goes straight to modern or something like that. So that could be an issue. I'm not really seeing how you can just really break it. Standard improvise, yeah, that would work. But in an improvised deck, what's your legendary? I mean, even Herald is not legendary. I'm just not seeing the legendary. Like that's the whole point. Is like this is going to be great in every commander deck you could ever imagine. Okay, which is going Brawl. That's pretty good. So turn 2 Brawl. See, I personally wish that this would have been one of those cards where it was 0 mana, add a colorless to your mana pool, or a color that a legendary you control. Like it could have been worded like that. Like it's only colorless unless you produce a legend or unless you have a legendary. I think it would have been a lot better if it would have been that way. But the card's still broken good. I just don't know if it's standard. I don't know if the rest of standard is good enough to break it. And that's just kind of where I'm at. Like we'll see as more and more sets come out while Mox Amber is in play. We're going to be dealing with this not this coming October, but all the way up until the next October, unless something changes. This card's going to be around, so we're going to see it. We're going to see it for a while. We're going to have a lot of sets that are going to come out. It's going to have a lot of time to either be broken or not. But I highly expect that this is going to jump into Modern, Legacy, or I doubt Vintage, considering Vintage could run real power. But I would expect this to jump into Modern or Legacy or something like that, and then at that point, the price point may stay around 26. But with the heavy print numbers and things like that we've had in recent past, I don't know if the price point will ever stay where we're currently seeing it. I just don't know about this card yet. Like, who was it that was saying they couldn't get on the hype train? I think it was Stickler. I'm kind of with Stickler here. I think it's a lot of hype. I think we're all seeing, hey, it's a new Mox. It has to be good, right? It's a Mox. But I don't know. Like, this is a Mox that is more reliant on the other things that are currently legal in a particular format. But, like I said, in any commander deck, this is going to be absolutely broken. You guys are going to love this. Put it in every commander deck. You're going to have that legendary. It's going to produce every color you need for your entire deck because, commander, that's how it works. It's going to be really good in the new Brawl format. I definitely expect the card to get play. I think it's going to have some multi-format usage. So, absolutely, I mean, if you want to pick up your play sets, I say go ahead and do it. The price may drop a little bit, but then again, somebody might actually find a way to break this, and then kind of the price might start going up. So, Alex here is saying they'll hold for $2 or $3. What? Oh, you guys are talking about something else. Yeah. Brawl into a Mox Amber. Yeah, maybe. I mean that Brawl's probably one of the better cards to run with Mox Amber because now now on turn two, you all of a sudden can start casting, I don't know, Lightning Strike in a red green or red blue. No, you can't because you could only produce the blue. So yeah, with Brawl, Mox Amber only produces blue. Yeah. So I mean, at least you would be able to go turn two Brawl or turn two Mox Amber, then play Brawl, and now you can hold up Negate or something like that just off the Mox Amber. So that alone might be a very powerful. Um, but we'll just have to see what's going on with standard before we can really do much here. Um, you always buy a box. Uh, you always buy a pre-release or two draft of a given. What? You always buy a box. Do a pre-release or two draft of the given set. Okay, yeah, buy a box and a couple pre-releases. I'm gonna be running some pre-releases for you guys. Like I'm gonna run the pre-release and probably run the release. So, what's up, Justin? How you doing, buddy? You guessed the Amber is kind of mid-game ramp. See, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Just kind of some mana fixing stuff like that. But again, you're not actually fixing your mana if you cast Gonti, you already have two black. I mean, what are you trying to cast? Something with triple black. I mean, there's some triple black cards that I've run. Demon of Dark Memes. Hey, Demon of Dank Memes. I'm sorry, Demon of Dank Memes. He's triple black. So maybe that's a thing you could do. Play Gonti on 4. Play Mox Amber and Demon on 5. I mean, you would have to hit that land drop, but yeah. This set is the first you won't be able to get a box of. Finances, yeah, yeah, finances are definitely a thing. I'm with you there, sir. I promise. All right, so these next couple are going to be a little bit weird. We're not going to talk too much about these, but for $24, you can get both of the new Planeswalker decks. I think they're pretty cool. I haven't actually seen the list yet, and if I can get the list online, I might actually just play these Planeswalker decks. Just play them once online, just as is out of the box, and see what they're like. So look for that. I may just go ahead and pick up the cards. Again, I don't know, but be on the lookout for that. I may just play them. Um, let's see. Fist pounded Alba. Alba. Just saying, you were sitting in Discord last night, and I hopped in and was yelling at you, but I could hear your TV in the background. Just saying. Make sure you mute that if you don't want people to be able to listen or something like that. The new Chandra is decent, but both decks are terrible. Are they? Yeah, I haven't even looked at the deck list, so. You can buy both of them for 24, or you can buy the Chandra deck for 18. You can buy the Teferi deck for 17. So buying them both, you're getting a lot of value there. The Teferi itself is worth a little bit more than the Chandra, pre-ordering at $12.95 here. It's +2, untap up to one target artifact or creature. It's -3, you gain 2 life and draw 2 cards. That's kind of what I'm thinking. If you're going to play, 6 mana, you just bam, drop this, take him to 2, gain some life, draw some cards. Go from there. Yeah, if you untap a target artifact or creature, you might be able to protect him, something like that. So that would be really good. Mox Amber would go very well in some Super Friends. But then again, there's going to be a lot of other ways to produce mana for your Super Friends. So we were talking a little bit about that in coffee time the other day. But his -9 is take an extra turn after this one. That's not really an emblem or something like that. That extra turn may or may not win the game for you. So the Planeswalker Teferi, he's okay, but not exactly my cup of tea. Next here we have the Planeswalker Chandra. Now this one's like $12.88 or $13.88 for the pre-order on it. Now the +1 is like both of our current Chandras +1s rolled into one. You get to +1 to add red to your mana pool, and then Chandra Bold Pyromancer deals 2 damage to target player. So it's kind of like parts of both of our current Chandras +1. Only this is a 6 mana Chandra. not 4 mana like our current Chandra. So, do I think that this particular Chandra will hold value? Probably not, but she's not as bad as some of the Planeswalker decks, Planeswalkers we have seen. She's actually kind of okay, which is nice. It's nice to see that Wizards is starting to increase the power a little bit of the Planeswalker deck, Planeswalkers. And those are supposed to be, really meant for those new players to grab hold and have something that they can start upgrading and things like that. So I do like Chandra Bold Pyromancer for reasons like that. Do I think she'll get standard play? Probably not, unless somebody's really trying to build a Super Friends deck and they just have that extra 6 slot available. But depending on what colors you're in for a Super Friends deck, you may or may not even want this card. It might just be better to throw in Veraska, or you may just not have slots for this. Now, the neg 3 on this would be Chandra Bolt Pyromancer deals 3 damage to target creature or player. Now, that's kind of what we're used to. So this is almost just a watered down version of our current Chandra. And then you have a neg 6, or sorry, neg 7. Chandra Bolt Pyromancer deals 10 damage to target player, each creature and planeswalker they control. Okay, so we've seen that before. Pow! Just set everything on fire. You shoot the player and then just wipe the board, and it's a one-sided wrath. If you can get that, and remember, you play her uptick to 6, untap, upkeep, draw. We'll go ahead and go to 7. Untap, upkeep, draw, ultimate, wipe the board, get in with what you got. And yeah, that could be the end of the game right there, especially if you're just trying to hold back and you're building these board stalls and stuff. Like Chandra may just be, the icing on the cake you need to get through it. So I think that this Chandra might be a little bit better than most of the Planeswalker deck Planeswalkers we've seen in the past, but for the most part, it's still a Planeswalker deck Planeswalker, and I doubt that we're going to get a ton of play out of it. Now next year we've got Teferi coming in at just under 13. Sorry, just under 14 bucks here, 13.54. Now, Teferi is the real deal, guys. Like, now this is the first card other than the Planeswalker deck cards under Karn. Now, so this is the technically out of under Mox Amber. So it's Karn, Mox Amber, and then we have a huge drop, like half of that price. Mox Amber is like 25 bucks, Karn's like 35 bucks. And he's coming in at just under 15. So yeah, I'm not worried about specific prices, as by the time that someone looks at this next week, all of these prices are going to be completely different. So yeah, do I think that Teferi's worth it? Absolutely. I mean, this Planeswalker is going to get a lot of play. His +1 is draw a card. We love drawing cards. And at the beginning of the next end step, untap 2 lands. So you pay 5 mana for this, and as Zaxidillo said, you're going to pay 5 mana for this, go to pass turn, untap 5 mana, and you're good, right? So yeah, you're untapping all kinds of things. Like you're untapping for negate, you're untapping for essence scatter, you're untapping for, you're untapping 2 mana, which effectively makes Teferi, Hero of Dominaria, it makes him a 3 mana planeswalker, guys. That's kind of good. That's kind of really, really good. Now, the neg 3 ability on Teferi is put target non-land permanent into its owner's library, third from the top. Now, you're going to kind of remove, like, in a way, pseudo time walk them if you're removing something that they spent their entire last turn putting onto the battlefield. So they tap out to put something onto the battlefield, you bounce it and put it 3 cards down on their library, and a couple turns from now, you're going to blank one of their draws. They're just going to get back a card that they've already had. So in that way, this is a little bit more powerful than a lot of cards that we've seen, especially the blink effect. The blink effect is really, really good because you're kind of time walking and you're blanking a draw. So effectively, you're getting an extra turn out of his neg 3 ability. The neg 8 is you get an emblem with whenever you draw a card, exile target permanent an opponent controls. That's broken, right? Can we just say that? That's broken. Like, you hit that emblem, untap, upkeep, draw. Oh, you ain't got nothing on the battlefield? Fine. Let's exile that land. Right? That's what this says. This is exile target permanent, guys, not non-land permanent. So if you get into a stall, you start exiling lands. You start, I don't know, let's Glimmer a Genius. Okay. We'll Glimmer, I'll scry 2, draw 2, exile, those things, whatever they are. Yeah. American Auras. Wow. Yeah, maybe. Especially with his Oath. I think that's going to be really good. So my thoughts on Teferi are, this is the real deal. I mean, Esper control is 100% going to be a thing. We're already seeing blue-black control just kind of dominate, and we know that with a new set coming that we're not losing anything. So a lot of times it's not necessarily the new cards that are coming in. You know, it's when cards leave that do massive changes, but we're not losing anything. So all the decks that are currently good are just going to, we're just going to be asking the question with those decks, do we have room to fit a new card in? Could we splash? Like, what alterations happen? And I really think that blue-black control drops back over to Esper, which is going to start opening up a world of possibilities there. But I just don't see, you know, not running something like Teferi. Also, you know, I mean, you could even blue-black control and possibly cast this off of just an Aether Hub. So Teferi is going to be really good. I highly expect this to get a ton of play. Make sure that you're ready for Teferi because, yeah, that's going to happen. And even if they remove Teferi, so I play Teferi, I put his +1 on the stack. They Vraska's Contempt immediately. His +1 resolves, I draw a card, I go to pass, and I still untap 2 lands. So you're not going to be dealing with that. You say Teferi will be $40 within 2 months. Okay. I think Teferi is going to be probably that broken. He's going to be extremely good, guys. Like, they have definitely there's a lot of hype around this card, and that there's good reason for that. So Teferi, I like Teferi. I expect we're going to be seeing it. Next here is my favorite saga. You guys, those of you that follow the channel, and pretty much most people that are here right now are probably those that have followed me for quite some time. You guys know that I have said this Knights deck is something that's got me excited. Well, this is a 3-mana saga. And I will talk a little bit about the sagas here because I know some of you want to hear like exactly how these sagas work, and I'm going to give you my understanding of them. So let me know in the comments if you think I'm wrong or right. But all right, so you're going to play this saga and you're going to put a lore counter on it, and you're going to get a, well, let me read it first. Hold on. As this saga enters the battlefield, and after your draw step, add a lore counter. Sacrifice after 3. Okay, so after 3. All right. For 1 and 2, create a 2/2 white knight creature token with vigilance. Like, these are kind of the old Gideon tokens, which is pretty cool. And then, so you're going to play this with a counter on it. So as it enters the battlefield, you're putting the counter on it, and that's going to trigger to the ability, putting the create a 2/2 white knight onto the battlefield. So then you'll pass turn or whatever, and they pass back, untap, upkeep, draw, put the counter on, which will place the trigger onto the stack, and then you will get another knight. Now, if they want to disallow that, that's fine, but they can't disallow placing the counter on. And if you had a way to remove a counter, you are not going to repeat a chapter of the saga that has already happened. So if some broken way you were able to play, get one counter on it, go ahead and get the second counter on it, remove it, and then put the second counter on again, you're not going to trigger that ability because that one has already had that chapter of the saga told. You're not going to tell that again. However, if you were able to remove this from play and bring it back into play, you're going to actually restart the saga. But you're not going to be able to repeat a saga without removing it. So I'm probably convoluted that and made that a little bit more complicated. Once you trigger the trigger, you just can't trigger the trigger no more. You know what I mean? Right? Anyway, the third one here, now all of these go 1, 2, 3. Now, once the third one happens, what you're going to do is you're going to put the counter on. It's going to put knights you control get +2/+1 until end of turn on the stack. Now, immediately as that stack clears, then the Saga will go to the graveyard. Now, the fact that the Saga is going to the graveyard is not going to change priority. So you will put the ability onto the stack, and then they can either counter the ability with something like a disallow, or they can allow it to resolve. Now, either if they counter it and the stack clears, at that point, state-based effects will take place, and if it has 3 counters on it, it's going to go to the graveyard. But that is not going to use the stack. So just because, you know, the stack is clear, it's going to go to the graveyard, you're not going to all of a sudden shift priority again. So as state-based effects take place, which they take place right before priority is passed to someone else, so or even as you renew priority, you're going to lose the Saga, and the Saga will go to the graveyard. That will not trigger a new passing of priority. It will just continue on with the passing of priority that was already there. By the way, Blood Crazed Paladin is a knight, so you get wipe protection. Yeah, Knights is going to be real, guys. Knights is going to be extremely real, and this Saga is going to be part of that. I mean, you play 3 mana, get a 2/2, and then get another 2/2 the next turn, and then the next turn get a 1-turn Anthem. Yeah, that's going to be real. How many times did we play Gideon for like 4 mana, and the only thing we did was make a 2/2? Next turn, make a 2/2. You know, like that's kind of what this is. Think of it like that, and that's pretty good. I kind of think that that's just absolutely well priced. 3 mana, make a 2/2, make another 2/2 the next turn, and I'm free on my mana to do other things. Yeah, that's going to be extremely good. Now, as far as I know, the sagas are not legendary. It doesn't say legendary saga. I don't know if you can, if there's a rule saying that you can't have more than one of the same saga down at the same time. But how would Solemnity play with this? I guess I'd have to read Solemnity. What does Solemnity say? Creatures can't. Man, I wish we were on Twitch. I could use MTG bot and pull that up. Where's Solemnity? Solemnity from MTG. Alright, so Solemnity says players cannot gain counters. Counters cannot be put on artifacts, creatures, enchantments, or lands. It's going to shut down sagas. Flat out. If you can't put a counter on it, then you're just not going to uptick. If you don't uptick, then you're not going to get anything. This can't even enter the battlefield and get the first one. So, yeah, it just flat out stops it. So, Solemnity might actually start getting some play, guys. Yeah, it would just flat out stop it. Yeah. That's, there you go. There's you some tech for sagas. I mean, if sagas become that powerful, if people are running like the black saga instead of an actual board wipe, drop a Solemnity in and move on. So I really like that one. I think that the price point's probably going to come down or go up based on how well the Knights deck does. I don't think that this card is holding its value because of a standalone idea. I don't think that people are just looking to stick this in any non-Knight deck, because, I mean, even its 3 ability is Knights you control get that +2/+1, so I think it's looking for I think it's looking for a Knights deck, and if there's as much hype about the Knights deck as I think there's going to be, and clearly, you know, a lot of people also are like, hey, this is going to fit in the Knights deck, I'm going to go ahead and grab them. That's why the price is where it's at. Yeah, I think that the price of this card is really just going to, what is Solemnity? Wow, I just closed it. Solemnity is an enchantment. Here, I'll pull it up for you one more time. I think I had it just a moment ago. Solemnity is this card. This is your text on Solemnity right here. Okay. Players can't get counters. Man, that's all choppy. Yeah, I went too far, didn't I? Players can't get counters. You can't put counters on artifacts, creatures, enchantments, or lands. Like I don't know, you can play Salinity and then play Dark Depths. Yeah, like there's some crazy stuff that could be done with Salinity, but you know we just don't see a lot of play out of it. But there's some crazy stuff that you could do. All right, moving on. We're gonna go to Lyria, the Lyra, and the Dawnbringer. Man, check her out. Isn't she cool? First strike, flying and lifelink. Wow. Other angels you control get +1/+1 and have lifelink. Wow. An angel lord. That is so cool, right? So I know that some of the angels from one of the other like planes or something actually all escaped to Dominaria. So yeah, I know that they're like these are basically like refugees. So this is a pretty cool card. You are not alone. You never were. Right? Ain't that cool? This will be your guardian angel. She's nowhere near the best angel. No, she is not. Hello, Brawl Commander Lord. No, she's not the best angel. Might be one of the better angels in Standard, but nowhere near the best angel. She's good, though. She is good, and I can see the price point. I can see this being a $10 card, but again, I think that a lot of the price of this card is based on the fact that there are a lot of people that actually collect and like angels. Kind of like me and elves. I kind of like to pick up elves from time to time when I go to the shop and things like that. Goes right into the Iona Commander. Oh man, talk about a broken deck. Oh man, you're that guy, huh? Oh, of course you are. It's Zaxadillo. I didn't even read the name on it. Of course you're that guy. Of course you play Iona. Of course you do. Do people even let you play Commander with them? Right? Do you have friends when you play that deck? Deck's so broken. So broken. Anyway, you got excited for Salinity plus Dark Depths, but it doesn't work. What do you mean it doesn't work? How doesn't it work? I thought Dark Depths said no cats in this set. What? Yes, it does. It does work. Yep, it works. You're putting Helm of Host in there too. Oh wow, that's 9 mana, dude. You really think you're going to get away with that? If an artifact, creature, or land would enter the battlefield with counters on it the same time that Salinity enters the battlefield, yeah, well, you'd have to bring them both in at the same time. But if Salinity's on the battlefield, you play Dark Depths. After Salinity is already on the battlefield, Dark Depths gets no counters. So, only because you're trying to bring them in at the exact same time. Yeah. Anyway, Angels overpriced. Yeah, well, that's because, like I said, there's just a ton of people who really collect Angels. So, yeah. Anyway, Dark Depths works. Next, we're actually going to talk about another angel here. Now, this one, you notice the price is starting to drop. We're getting down under $10, so we're starting getting into more reasonable price for good cards, and we're not actually that far into this. So, a 3/2 flyer for 5, yeah. Angels are cool. They are. I like angels. I'm more of an elves fan. My favorite 2 tribes are elves and then warriors. If you go third, it's constructs. So elves, warriors, and constructs are my tribes. But hey, that's just me. Now, some people do like some angels, and if you like the other angel, you might like this one. This is a 4 mana 3/4. Now that's not a bad price. That's about that's as far as the body goes. This is the same thing as Restoration Angel. We're talking just a good price for a flying 3/4 4 mana. But You, planeswalkers you control, and other creatures you control have hexproof. Sigarda? And it's green. Right? Look at this commander, guys. Commander, you got a green-white commander here. So 2 green and 4, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. Now these are some of the best things that you could possibly look for in a commander. Comes out, protects absolutely everything else you have, including yourself, gives you a good late game mana sink, and may be one of the best green-white commanders printed as of yet. I know Sigarda is good, but this is pretty good too, so yeah. Monkey says he likes angels, slivers, and constructs. Slivers are pretty cool. I've got no argument to slivers, but I think you know what? The voice of plenty, whatever her name is, Shala. Oh well, it is Shala, ain't it? Hamdallah, Hamdallah. How do you say? That's Arabic for like Allah wills or God wills. Would be the translation. Hamdallah, something like that. Shala. Anyway, Voice of Plenty. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I like the card. I think it's going to get a lot of Commander hype. I think one of the reasons the price is where it's at is because of Commander. So, right. Yeah, I mean, if you get down this and a Sigarda, it's going to be pretty hard to do anything. It's going to, like, at that point, you have assembled the combo. Yeah. Green-white aggro / tokens loves this girl. I'd say you're right. She is pretty brutal. Muldrotha, the Gravetide. I ain't even going to try to pronounce it again. We're just going to go with whatever I just said. Anyway, this is a Sultai color plus 3 colorless, so that's a one blue, 1 green, 1 black, plus 3 other, is going to give you a legendary elemental avatar. Right? It's legendary, so it's historical. No, is it historical? Or legendary is historical? Wait a minute, it's artifacts. I can't even remember it anymore. During each of your turns, you may play up to 1 permanent card of each permanent type from your graveyard. Holy cow. Sigarda plus Shala plus Archangel Avacyn equals good game. Yeah. Best commander in the set, says Brendan Wheeler. Might be, Brendan. I mean, the card is extremely good. You get to, now start using artifacts, legends, and sagas. Okay. Hey, thank you very much, Raleigh. Right. You know what? Foster. It's Australian for beer. Anyway, Muldrotha. Muldrotha. Wow, I'm sure I'm butchering that, but whatever. The card is awesome. Yeah, 6 mana, but like again, in Commander, this is going to be really good. In Standard, will this get any play? Somebody might build around it. I mean, we built around some of the other broken cards in the past that would allow us to get cards back from our graveyard. I can't remember what was it, the green? Something, I think it was like Seasons Past or something like that, or something crazy. Would just give us a bunch of cards out of our graveyard, again, like 1 of each converted mana cost. I mean, with this card, you're going to be able to go, okay, I'm going to play my instant again, so there's a Fatal Push. Now I'm going to play a sorcery, so here's a Chart of Course. And yeah, I'm probably going to need this creature, so let me bring back this Champion of Wits, or, whatever, or a Glensleeve Siphoner. I don't know. I mean, there's just going to be so many good cards. And yeah, I mean, if we built around cards like Seasons Past, then we definitely might build around something like this. What's up, Barry? How you doing, buddy? Taking him down. Sorry, Justin. I love that. I love the fact that yeah. You guys like the fact that you're like, your friends. Like, you guys are getting to know each other. You're picking at each other, and yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to build this community for, was good friendly interaction like that. Barry saying hello to everyone. Good evening, everyone. Sorry, Justin. Poor Justin. He's been taken down. Barry's going to be our new stream boss for the rest of the show here, or until someone decides, you know what? Nah. Anyway, we got people still talking about Shala. Here we are on Muldrotha. Uh, anyway, moving on. We've got Dryad Ballard. Now we're starting to get to the point where the price point is getting pretty low. Okay. The price point here on Dryad Ballard, so there must not be as much hype, but the card is still decent. The +1 is add RRR, 3 red to your mana pool. But this red can only be spent on instants and sorceries. She's got another +1, discard up to 3 cards, then draw that many cards. So there is no negative ability on the top 2 here. And then there's only an ultimate. You get an emblem with instants and sorceries in your graveyard have flashback. I mean, you can read it ever how you want, but that's what it says. Yeah. Yep. That's Past in Flames, guys. That is 100% Past in Flames. That's a broken card, and you get that emblem, so like until end of game, you never have to like cast anything to give you Past in Flames. Now you can, I don't know, I'll counter you, and now that counter will set in my graveyard, and when I need to, I will just counter you and exile it and move on. Like, wow, that is so good. Or we could run this in maybe a wizard's deck that is high on creatures, or sorry, high on instants and sorceries or something like that, and now you're casting lightning bolts or counter spells from the graveyard. Oh, come on, I'm all about this. Plus you can wheel your hand. You're sitting around, you keep top decking lands. Let's pitch these 3 lands. Let's get 3 other cards. Or I can pitch some instants and sorceries because I'm digging for a specific card without fear, as long as I can keep protecting this. This is going to be absolutely awesome. Zach Cedillo says, Storm is back on the menu, boys. I'm going to say no, because we'll talk about Dampening Sphere in just a few moments, I'm pretty sure. Alright, so that's Dryad Ballard. The card's pretty decent. I don't think there's a ton of hype around it, but it's just a flat-out decent card. Next, we're going to talk about, what is this, our first green card. So we got all the way down to the $5 pre-order range before we even had green cards to look at here. I mean, technically Muldrotha was green, technically Shala was green, but you guys get what I'm saying. Now this is Stillleaf Champion, and that's an elf knight, okay? So, yeah, it's a knight, it's an elf, whatever. Stillleaf Champion can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. That's right. Those little chump blockers you have, those little vampire tokens or those historical servos of yours are not blocking the Stillleaf Champion. This is not legendary. You can play more than one of them. Yeah. That's pretty good. Right? Mono green Stompy. Pascal says, by the way, greetings from Europe. Thank you, man. I appreciate. Wait a minute. That's. Thank you, ma'am. My bad. I can't. I forgot. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Trying to learn my audience just a little bit more, and there's so many of you. But I am trying to learn you guys. David Ma, you want to buy a copy of Stillleaf Champion? You want to buy me a copy of Stillleaf Champion as a thanks for all the content, or you could buy a beer with this $6. I'll have no way of knowing. Well, all right. I tell you what. For that, when I run Mono Green Stompy, and I will be running Mono Green Stompy, I'll just do a toast to you there, Dave. All right. I need to get me a notebook so I can write these promises down that I'm making. Right. Yeah. Either way, Mono Green Stompy is a toast to you. I'll run that fairly soon. I know there's a lot of hype about it. A lot of people want to see that, so I'll be running that shortly after the new set comes out. Remember, I do rent from manatraders, so manatraders is going to be it'll usually take them a day or two before they can actually start getting the cards. But yeah, that's it's pretty cool. I like Still Leaf Champion, and I am excited about Mono Green Stompy. And this is it. This card is going to be broken good, guys. Like 3 mana, bam, 5/4. Like blows the vanilla test completely out of the water. Like that. Oh my goodness, it's so good. Anyway, let's talk about the next card here. I think Still Leaf Champion is great. People are all about that mono green Stompy. I am too. The next one on the list is going to be Phyrexian Scriptures. Phyrexian Scriptures is one of the first Dominaria cards to get released to us. So a lot of people are kind of used to this saga. The first part of it is you're just going to put a +1/+1 counter on a creature, and that creature becomes an artifact. Then you're going to yell pass turn. They're going to pass back to you. You're going to untap, upkeep, draw, wipe the board of everything that is not an artifact creature. Remember, that creature that you put the +1/+1 counter on the last turn is an artifact in addition to its other types. So that creature is going to stick around. And then on the next turn, you're going to wipe all the graveyards. So this is kind of one of those controlling type cards, but the ability will go on the stack. And I don't know exactly how that works. I mean, yeah, you put the counter on, but you're not going to be able to target anything with the ability if you don't have a creature. So I don't know exactly how that works, but I know you can play it because you're playing an enchantment. So it would just kind of drop to the battlefield with his counter on and then no target. So yeah, it's going to be pretty good. Turn 1 Llanowar, turn 2 Still Leaf Champion, turn 3 Ronus, or turn 3 Ripjaw. Oh yeah, that sounds good. Still Leaf Champion turn 2 until WotC sucks the fun out of the game and bans Llanowar Elves. You really think they'll ban Llanowar Elves? I think that they're going to have. I think it's going to speed the format up so much that it's ridiculous. Someone said the other day that they were expecting the format to slow down, and I'm like, it can't slow down. The only way it could slow down would people to ignore the fact that Llanowar Elves just got a reprint. Like, I don't think that it's going to slow down. I don't think it at all. So, right? Just keep going with it. Turn 5 Colossal Dreadmaw, right? Who cares? Hey, look. One of the more high-priced lands here on the pre-orders. Cabal Stronghold. Cabal Stronghold is pretty simple. You can add a colorless to your mana pool. It does not enter tapped. Or you can pay 3 and add a black mana for each basic swamp you control. Now, if there is a mono black deck, this is going to be a lot of mana. So, again, this is another card that Dampening Sphere is going to work great against. I mean, if you're just going swamp, 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 Cabal, yeah, I mean, you're going to need to do this later. But for the most part, this is going to give you a ton of mana. Yeah. I like it. I like what it stands for. The amount of mana that it will give you in the later game is going to be great, but this is nothing to actually fear because of the amount of mana that it will not give you any real advantage on mana until after turn 4. It just can't until after turn 4. Ronus's Last Stand is also pretty dope on curve. Yeah, but you're not going to play anything to follow it up on turn 3. So Llanowar Elves into the Still Leaf is going to be better than, like, why would you want a Llanowar Elves into a Ronus's Last Stand and then Still Leaf Champion? I mean, you're not going to be able to cast that. If you go tap 1 and tap the Llanowar Elves to cast Ronus's Last Stand on 2, you left open 1 mana, so you didn't maximize your curve, and then on the turn 3 you still have 1 mana that is tapped, so you play another mana and then you can Still Leaf. Yeah, you can do that, but I don't really know if that's. Wouldn't it just be better to go Llanowar Still Leaf turn 3? Oh darn, I guess I'd just play another Still Leaf. Like, I don't know. I think I would rather have Still Leaf on turn 2, and even maybe play Ronus's Last Stand on 3. Like, on 3, you could play Ronus's Last Stand, Ronus's Last Stand. I think that that's better. I think that that's a faster curve. So turn 1 Land of War, then yeah, I don't know. I just think that that's a little bit better. Yeah. Anyway, this is just a well-priced card here with the Cabal Stronghold. I like the card. It's not going to give you any really early ramp. You're not going to be doing any broken stuff, but it's pretty good. It's just a good value card late. I think Commander players are going to be snagging it up. If you've got a black Commander deck that's got a bunch of swamps in it, then yeah, go ahead and pick that up and go with it. Next here we've got Jorah, the Weatherlight Captain. Now, first I do have to point out that Jorah is a 3/3, which can crew and pilot the captain or pilot the Weatherlight all by itself. So Jorah is pretty good. Whenever you cast a historic spell, draw a card. So if you cast an artifact, a legendary, or a saga, you're going to draw a card. So you play Jorah, you cast Mox, draw a card. You can now create a red or blue, I guess, or colorless with your Mox. I don't know. Play another 1 mana card, draw a card. I don't know. Like this there could be something really broken here that I'm just not seeing. I kind of like it though. What's up, Hefe? How you doing, buddy? How you doing? Next here we've got like Jorah's just good. I didn't read the second part here. It's only got the draw, but they put a ton of flavor text on it. As she took the wheel of the Weatherlight for the first time in a millennia, Jorah knew she had been right to restore the ship. Anything was possible now. So she got the Weatherlight back to running, back to flying, and yeah, it's in Dominaria. No, it can't planeswalk anymore. It can't fly from planes to planes, but it can traverse Dominaria with ease, so I'm told. Next here we've got a 4 mana card. Now this is Traxos, the Scourge of Krog. 4 mana trample, Traxos, Scourge of Krog enters the battlefield tapped and doesn't untap during your untap step. Whenever you cast a historic spell, untap Traxos. This is going to be just pretty straightforward and simple. You got a 4 mana 7/7 that all you have to do is cast an artifact the next turn to untap it. What's not to like about this? Like, why is this only $3.94? Like, this is going to be so broken. Talk about mono green stompy. Like, this, what kind of curve would this be, guys? I mean, this is absolutely right. Like, this is mind-boggling. I mean, you cast Ornithopter for free and just untap it. I mean, like, I don't know, cast Mox, untap it. This thing is going to be broken. Broken. Fling it. Fling it. Yeah, sure. Hey, I'm with you. No argument. Absolutely, I'll fling it. Legendary, historical, legendary artifact creature. And it's a construct. It's a construct. Oh my goodness. Sorry, I was brewing. Whew. Let me get back to you guys. Whew. Whoa. Whoa. Mono colorless vehicles, right? Yeah, this card's going to be absolutely broken, guys. I mean, yeah, play this next turn, I don't know, Aethersphere Harvester or Heart of Kirin or whatever. I mean, whatever. There's so many, I don't know, play a Saga, play the Black Saga and start wiping the board. Like, oh, that's right, I just untapped this bad boy. Now it's an 8/8. You know, it was already an artifact. Who cares? You know. Yeah, this is going to be kind of crazy. Colorless vehicles is going to be nuts. Karn, this Weatherlight and Heart of Kirin, yeah, seems pretty good. This is going in your Pummeler deck. Okay, so we got to start brewing Teamer Pummeler. So that we can play Pummeler with Traxos and Fling. Yeah, Why not? Traxos is going to fit in so many good decks. We've got so many legendaries. We've got so many good artifacts right now because Kaladesh is still in the block. Until October, this card is going to be, it's just going to be nucking, guys. Just absolutely nucking. Anyway, next here, we've got Sulfur Falls. Down at $4.38, 34 cents here, according to this. So $4 for your Sulfur Falls. Pick them up. Just grab them. Just get them. You know, that's a decent price for your red-blue lands. This is going to slot into so many decks. People are like, this is just going to fix a lot of mana issues. So pretty much everything out of all of the different lands out of the set, Sulfur Falls is like the most expensive one of them. So go ahead and pick up your play sets of all your lands. It's one of the things I always recommend that people do in a new set. Get your lands first. You might not know what deck you want to be on, so if you're buying things just kind of to buy them, snag those lands. Snag those lands, so if you do switch from deck to deck, you're not worried about a land base, right? Brandon Wheeler says, glad these lands are affordable. Absolutely. Absolutely. So let me read this. Sulfur Falls enters the battlefield tapped unless you control an island or mountain. What about our cycling lands, guys? You can play affliated pools. You can play, like, you know, I ain't even going to stick with Grixis colors, but Sheffet Dunes. Or not Sheffet Dunes. Wow. Sheltering Thicket is what I was meaning. You can play Sheltering Thicket. You can throw this in Temur. It's going to fix like Temur mana bases. It's going to fix a lot of different mana bases. Energy check lands, right? Yeah. I mean, this is just going to be absolutely enemy check lands, absolutely. I was like, energy check, what? Yeah, the cards are absolutely broken. I mean, it works just like the ones we currently have in Standard, only we already have the other side of it. You already got $120 in your TCG cart worth of... I wish that I had a link from TCG, so you know, if you guys were doing that, like you could help support the channel. But I'm not from TCG, and plus I think my other sponsor might be a competitor. But manatraders doesn't do pre-orders, so I don't think I'm stepping on manatraders' toes with pre-orders. But yeah, I know that I'm going to be renting most of these cards, so I'm not really worried about it. But I do have to pick up my cards in paper, so. I don't rent from manatraders in paper. I probably should or could. Pretty sure I could. Not 100%, but I've never asked. I've just owned my paper cards, so I do my testing online, and that's why manatraders is so good, because you can just rent and test all you want. Like, again, for the price of 3 Karns, I can rent and play every deck in Standard for the entirety of Dominaria for the price of pre-ordering 3 Karns right now. I mean, yeah, that's great. Stop talking about it. Stop talking about it. Building a brawl list on manatraders right now. Cool. The feds are watching. Quit it. Just quit. Yeah, lands are always good to own. They're always just a great value. You're not going to go wrong by picking up your lands, guys. Next here we've got Gilded Lotus at $4.27. This is a pre-order, or sorry, a reprint. Why did I say pre-order? This is a reprint. This is something that we've known about for, you know, a long time. Everyone knows how good Gilded Lotus is. It was getting to the point that, you know, the price on Gilded Lotus was starting to kind of hedge back up a little bit, or starting to ease back up a little bit, and now this reprint is going to hedge that. Sorry, my brain was getting ahead of my mouth, which is hard to do. Anyway, Gilded Lotus, just a great card. Commander staple, back in Standard, so I'm sure somebody's going to find a good way to break this. It's not a legendary, so you can have more than one. So, yeah, you look worried. You look worried, Lamp. Yeah. We gotta get Lamp out of here for a few days and get Val in. So after Dominaria hits, we'll see if we can get Val in on some streams. Let Lamp take a side seat and let Val come chill with us. Anyway, Gilded Lotus, just a good card. I'm glad to see the price point on this drop a little bit. That's gonna help. Like, this just needed a reprint. We had it quite some time ago, but it's good to see it reprinted now. Thran Gateway, probably one of the most exciting cards for me to want to build around. I really want to build around this. So far, this has become my pet card out of Dominaria. I'm really liking the Thran Gateway. So, you know, 4 mana, tap, you may put a historic permanent card from your hand onto the battlefield. So this is a lot like, you know, your Quicksilver Amulets. If you guys like ever played with Quicksilver Amulet and stuff like that, yeah, this is just a really, really good card. You're going to be able to drop a legendary, an artifact, or a saga just straight from your hand right onto the battlefield. I mean, you can have an empty board in 4 mana Galta. You can have, you know, like there's just, I don't know, instant speed into your turn Karn, so it's safe. I don't know. I mean, you're not going to get to uptick it or something like that, but instant speed Teferis, instant speed to Oath of Teferi. It's just going to be absolutely broken. I do think that with like Land of War Elves or something like that, you're going to be able to play this on 3, and then you'll be actually activating it on 4. Remember, we're not going to have a braid after October, so we're going to be able to start playing with this yet a little bit more. So, you know, the Thran Temporal Gateway is going to be just a really, really cool card. And again, a commander staple. I keep saying that with most of the cards in this set because it kind of looks like, you know, they have just, this is just all about some Commander and Brawl, but some of these cards are really, really good for Standard as well. And this is a build around. I think that we can really cheat some stuff into play, have a lot of fun with things. Remember, it's for colorless, so if you're running like, I don't know, you know, 4-color Planeswalkers or something like that, you can use this to just play your 6-mana Planeswalker for 4. Yeah, I think I will. I think I'll take some of that. I think I'm going to have a little. Right? It's pretty good. I like it, guys. I think you guys are going to like this, and I think that we can brew around it and have a lot of fun with this. So the portal opens not just to the past, but from it. Those who step through discover an unimaginable future. Right? Hey, that's cool. What's some flavor? Anyway, here we go. The card that is going to say no to a lot of possibilities. End of your turn, I'll put in Galta on an empty board. Yeah, that sounds pretty good there for the Horde. Yeah, you swung at me. Yeah, yeah. That Thran, the Gateway is going to be great. It's going to be so good. Anyway, Dampening Sphere. Now, this is a card that I was extremely hyped about because of what it does. It's also probably going to end up in some sideboards in, you know, some of the other formats. I really, really expect that if anyone is worried about someone trying to do any kind of storm, this completely shuts down my KCI deck. This shuts down so many decks right here. Dampening Sphere. If a land is tapped for 2 or more mana. So any land that produces more than 1 mana, even if you put a Gift of Paradise on it, it will no longer produce 2 mana. Instead, it's going to produce 1 colorless. So if you go Gift of Paradise, I'm going to tap to make 2 white so that I can settle. Oh, no, 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 you don't. You just made a colorless. Not 2 white, you made a colorless. So as long as it's the land that is actually trying to produce that 2 mana. So if there's something that is worded to when this land is tapped for mana, the enchantment produces the white or something. But most of those are worded. I don't even know if there's one worded like that, but most of those are worded to where, you know, if this mana was tapped for 1 of any color, produce 2 of that instead. Well, no, this is going to say now produce 1 colorless instead. So that's kind of where we're at on this one. And that's not all, folks. It doesn't just shut down those those lands like, I don't know, Golden Guardian, a Flip Gateway. So flip Golden Guardian, flip Gateway, flipped, what's the other one? There's another one that produces more than 1 mana. I forget it. But anyway, there's a bunch of cards that this would shut down. But in Modern, this next line is what's going to be really, really broken. Each spell a player casts costs 1 more to cast for each other spell that player has cast this turn. So let's just pretend we have 4 lightning bolts in hand, right? So that's just really simple. Everyone can get behind that, right? We've got 4 lightning bolts in hand. We're going to go, and we've got, I don't know, we're going to have a ton of mana, right? Normally, 4 lightning bolts would cost 4 red mana. So this is going to go lightning bolt you for 1 red. go to Lightning Bolt you again. This one's going to cost 2 red. And then we're going to go to Lightning Bolt you again. This next one's going to cost 3 red. And then we go to Lightning Bolt you one more time. It will cost 4. So we're looking at 11 mana to cast 4 Lightning Bolts in one turn, right? Yeah. Yeah, remember when Zach Stillo was saying that Storm is back on the table, boys? I don't know. I don't think Storm is quite on the table. Jareth Miles, what's up, fella? Brewing on my commander deck, by the way. I'm coming for you, fella. Jareth Miles here is one of my local friends that he's one of the people that helped get me started into Magic in the first place. So you can all blame him for this terrible content I've been putting out over the last 5 months. But anyway, Dampening Sphere are going to be a great card, sideboard piece. You're not going to be running any kind of Storm while this is in the format, or at least you're not going to continuously run Storm. You might be able to, sneak in, spike a GP, or, even spike your local FNM. But remember, if you start running a Storm deck more than 1 week in a row, people are going to slot this in their sideboard and say, I'm going to have you next week, buddy. And that's what's going to happen. So Storm does not suffer from Dampening Sphere. Graveyard Hate is better. Storm 100% suffers from Dampening Sphere, dude. How would Storm not? Like, I mean, does this shut Tron down as bad as it shuts down Storm? Yes, it does. Tron lands only produce 1 colorless, no matter how many of them they have. Tower is only going to produce a colorless. If it produced, any like 2 or more mana, it just produces 1 colorless. No, it doesn't. Bounce it into turn, or its first spell. Oh, okay, so Storm's running some bounce, and you just got to bounce it. All right, well, that I can see. But if you don't have the bounce, you can't go off. So if you're on Storm, then you have to wait until you have your bounce card just to be able to go off. I take it that Brandon is a Storm, or Jack is a Storm player here. So yeah, okay, I get the bounce effect. Bounce is good. I didn't realize that Storm ran Dissipate, or a Dissipate type of. Is it Dissipate? Disperse. I didn't realize it ran a disperse type spell. I thought Storm might run some type of unsummon, like where you bounce creatures, but I didn't know they could bounce like artifacts and stuff. But green Tron decks have artifact hate. Well, that's the point, is you're going to have artifact hate. And a lot of times, if you're having to wait a turn or two to get your artifact hate, or to be able to find your artifact hate, or a way to deal with this, you might have had to wait a turn or two too long, which will offset the tempo and maybe cause you to lose the game. So yeah, this may or may not just shut you down, but remember, after the Dominaria releases, you're going to have to next level your sideboard plan, because if you think they're bringing in the Dampening Spheres for you, then you're going to have to bring in the artifact hate for them. So you got that next level play there. That is available to you, but yeah. The blue Eldrazi Tron has a harder time with this. Understood. I'm not big into modern, so I'm not really huge on the on the Storm decks and the Eldrazi Tron, but yes, this will mean that you play this on turn 2. That is a turn before they could turn 3 go Tron, and then on turn 3, even if they have the mine, the power plant, and the tower, they're still only producing 3 mana. That's not going to get them a Karn out on turn 3, right? Which, if you don't get Karn out on turn 3, then right? What's the point of being in Tron, right? Either way, I do think Dampening Sphere is really good, and it's going to be a nice little piece of sideboard hate. Next here, we've got Chandra's Outburst. Okay, so Chandra's mad, guys, and she's unleashing some fury here. Chandra's Outburst deals 4 damage to target player or planeswalker. Search your library or graveyard for your Chandra. It's the Chandra Bold Pyromancer, so this is the one from the planeswalker deck, which means it'll probably stay around $1 or so, just because there's not going to be a lot of cards that there's just not going to be a lot of people that pick that up. So it's showing that this was pre-ordering at $3.72, but when we pull it up, it's only 97 cents. So I don't expect the card to stay valuable, but right here it's there. So Alright, I know a lot of you guys are excited about this dragon. Give me a moment. I've got to hooked on phonics this thing and see if I can pronounce it. Alright. Dari Gaza. Dari Gaz. Dari. Yeah, it's got to be a right? Double A? Right? Dari Gaza? Yeah, close enough. The Reincarnated. So, this is a 7 mana Jund colors and 4 colorless. Flying Trample Haste. If Dari Gaza Reincarnated would die, instead exile it with 3 egg counters on it. At the beginning of your upkeep, take an egg counter off of it, and then if it has no egg counters on it, return it to the battlefield. Remember, it has haste, flying, and, well, haste and flample, okay? We all love some flample. I like flample. You like flample. That's one of the best things about a good demon is, demons seem to have flample. Well, this is a dragon with flying and trample. That is so good. Dari Gaze. Okay, so it's Dari. You sure it's not Dari Gaz? Dari Gaz. Dari Gaze. It's not a hard A, is it? So we've got vowel, 1 vowel, 2 vowel, 3, 4 vowels in the word. I'm gonna say Dari Gaz. I don't think it's Dari Gaze, but I could be wrong. I'm gonna say Dari Gaz reincarnated. I just trust the redneck. You know I don't know how to pronounce these things. Anyway, I like the card. I think the card's absolutely phenomenal. It's going to work along the same lines as your typical suspend spells. You're going to want to put your it's a magic card. No one will pronounce it the same. Dari Gaz. Dari Gaz. Yeah, that sounds decent. Dari Gaz. Yeah, yeah. I can go with Dari Gaz. Dari Gaz. I'm gonna call it Dari Gaz. I've already put that into my head. We're just gonna go with Dari Gaz. It's the reincarnated dragon. Come on, the egg dragon. Um, he's really good. I mean, it's just an awesome card. The mechanics on it work just like suspend. So, well, that sucks. I thought they were going to change a lot of old card text. What do you mean they were going to change a lot of old card text? They changed a ton of old cards, but I don't know what you're exactly talking about there, Cosmo. After a few drinks, we'll just call it Dairy Cow. See, I like where you're going with this, Dave. Which it's a cow, all right, whatever. Right, good card. I think the card's really good. And next we're gonna come up on Naruto. I don't watch that show. Naru Mea Master Wizard. I was watching Deb's spoiler on this, and he's like Naru Mea Mea, like whatever. But Naru Mea Master Wizard. This is a really cool card. It's got flash, and I think this is one of the few legendaries that people might play as a 4 of, right? Because you can play this on curve and now you just have a lord down for your other wizards, or you can like hold this and play it on turn 6 or turn 7 or something like that, and you can copy a spell. So you can be like, bam, I'm going to, like, you can even do it on turn 5. No, you have to have another wizard in play to be able to do it on turn 5 with a lightning bolt. So yeah, Wizard's Lightning is a lightning bolt in standard. So, yeah. If you got another wizard, you can like use the Wizard's Lightning and copy it. So double bolt. I mean those are some things to do, but I expect this to be a really good late game card. And the reason I would run it as a 4 of is because you know that that's just really, really sweet. Like you can just play it on curve, and now all of your wizards just get that +1/+1 anthem, so you're not really out anything. And then you can just play another copy of it late for some super value, copying an instant or sorcery that you control. I really wish that this says you would copy any instant or sorcery, not just the ones you control, but hey, that works. The card would be a little bit better if you could turn for this and copy, say, Vraska's Contempt, that sort of thing. Yeah. Can I go over more about the price of the card? Like if I think that it will go up or down or remain constant? Um, I think you're going to know more about that like the moment we start seeing the first tournament. All right. So this particular card, it's really just going to be based on whether or not the Wizards deck's as good as people think it is. So yeah, 4 mana is really high to be copying a spell. That's why it also has a Lord effect on it. So that that's kind of nice, but it's really just going to depend on this particular card whether or not that's going to go up or down based on how good the Wizards deck does. So if you see the Wizards deck going up, then you're going to know that this card's going to go up with that. As of right now, there's not a lot of hype on the Wizards deck. There's a bunch of people like you, me, and a few other of those brewers in the Magic community that are like, oh, I want to try this Wizards deck, but I really don't know if the Wizards deck's going to be like just broken good or not. So we'll see, we'll see. But Noromea, good card, and the price point's definitely going to be linked to how well the Wizards deck does. Next here, Belzenlock. Demon Lord Belzenlock. He's an Elder Demon. Have we seen any other Elder Demons? I don't know. Like, I don't remember seeing Elder Demons. Right, 90% of all of these cards are going to go down. Yeah, like 90% of these are going to go down after about 2 weeks. Like right now, the price points are all fed on the hype of the card itself. If it's a good card, if someone's actually liking that particular card, or like the Angels, we've seen the Angels kind of at the top of the list because the Angels are just really good cards. But a lot of people also collect Angels, and that adds just a hair to the price point. And so collectible cards will always be a thing, and that will always kind of change the price point just a little bit. But right now, everyone's just trying to grab these cards, so that's going to affect the price point a little bit. I expect all cards to go down a little bit, except for Karn. I actually expect Karn to just. I expect it to be a $50 card. I really do. So like buying Karn right now at $35, it's probably just gonna bank you. It's probably gonna be so good. Next here, we've got Demon Lord Belzenlock. Belzenlock? Yeah, we can play with that later. Flying Trample, right? What was I saying earlier about, our good demons, they had Flample, right? Any good demon should have Flample. That's why that dragon is he's like a demonic dragon. He's got Flample, but he's also got haste, right? So he's a quick demon dragon, right? All right. I mean, you know what happens? You kill a demon, it's banished to the nether world for a while, and then it can come back. That's how that dragon works, right? Demon Lord Belzenlock enters the battlefield. Exile cards from the top of your library until you exile a non-land card. Then put that card into your hand. If the card's converted mana cost is 4 or greater, repeat this process. Demon Lord Belzenlock deals 1 damage to you for each card put into your hand this way. Okay. Alright. Well, for one, I'm thinking this might be a good reanimator target. 2, there seems like there might be some kind of build around here. I'm curious to see what you guys like. You're loving Flample, right? I can't believe you've never heard of it. My brother had never heard the term ham until today. Yeah, we were talking. I was like, "Hey, let's go up there." We had to get on. We was working on a lawnmower, and I was like, "All right, come on, we'll take a little break, and then we're gonna go ham on this." He's like, "Ham." He's like, "I am a little hungry. I can go for a ham sandwich." I was like, "No, man, ham, hard as a mother." And he's like, "Oh, okay." So now I got my brother using ham. So this card's booty cheeks. You think it is? I think it's going to be one of those jank build-arounds, man. I think that there's going to be something we can do with it. I mean, it deals 1 damage to us for each card put into our hand this way. I think there's going to be a way that we can build around it. It's probably going to be in some jank stuff, but it's pretty cool. I'm not real big on the lore. Is this the last of the demons Liliana has to fight? I'm not for sure, but is this the last of Liliana's demons? We know that she had to fight Razakath before, or at least finish off Razakath. But yeah. Next, we've got our Woodland Cemetery. Woodland Cemetery. This is just another of those lands. We are looking at the enemy lands here, so enters the battlefield tapped unless you have a swamp or a forest. Real cheap on the pre-order. I mean, all of these are under like $4.50 a piece. Grab your lands, guys. Grab your lands. The Weatherlight, absolutely great card. I don't know how much play the Weatherlight's going to get, but it's 4 mana, 4/5. So it passes the vanilla test. It's flying. The crew is only 3 on it. Like, they didn't put some broken crew on it. I think if the crew would have been 4, the card would have just been completely unplayable. But as it's a 3, it does fit into some of the vehicles decks that we already are familiar with, Mardu's vehicles and things like that. It does show us, as this is the only vehicle in the set, that when there is a historic vehicle in the lore, that they are going to allow the vehicle mechanic to be evergreen. That doesn't mean they're going to be throwing a lot of vehicles in, like Kaladesh was the vehicles block, but they did seem to like the vehicles mechanics. So here we have the Weatherlight, and yeah, the Weatherlight is pretty cool. I like it, and it's got a really nice effect. Whenever the Weatherlight, and I'm summarizing, of course, but whenever the Weatherlight deals combat damage to a player, you can look at the top 5 cards of your library, and you may reveal a historic card from them and put it in your hand. So that's a artifact, a legendary, or a saga you get to put into your hand. So you can crew this with the 1 mana little, what's his name, the white Toolcraft Exemplar. So you can enter combat, Toolcraft Exemplar will become a 3/1, and then you can crew this and then get in for some action. Remember, this is another flying vehicle. We don't have a lot of good flying vehicles, and most of the flying vehicles have been pretty good. You know, we've got Smuggler's Copter that actually got banned. We've got Heart of Kirin, which is, you know, people were begging for a ban. And we've got Aethersphere Harvester, which is probably one of the better, like, just balanced vehicles. You know, like, anything better than Aethersphere Harvester is probably close to being broken. Anything worse is probably just unplayable. So Weatherlight's really good. I like the Weatherlight. I think it's a good card, and I'm looking forward to seeing it with a little action in Standard here. I mean, come on, flying this alongside you know, Dad's car. You know, hey, I'm all about it. For those of you that don't get the Dad's car reference, that's Heart of Kirin. But next here we have oh wow, Nyamimbi. It's a faithful healer. She reminds me of Saheeli with the dress and everything, like the way they have her dressed. But like, really cool, beautiful art here. Like, just the bright colors and everything. I love it. But the faithful healer enters the battlefield. You may search your library or graveyard for a card named Teferi Timebender, reveal it, and put it in your hand. So Teferi did not get like a spell like Chandra and some of the other cards in the back. No, Dad's car is not Skyship Sovereign. Dad's car is Heart of Kirin, right? So Kirin Nalaar is Chandra's dad, and it can be crewed by taking a counter off of a Planeswalker you control. So Chandra can jump in her dad's car, right? Heart of Kirin. Yeah. It's Dad's car. That's Big Boat. We call Skyship Sovereign Big Boat, right? Yeah, I guess I gotta start, like, all the slang that we use in Magic. I gotta start, like, explaining that for you guys. But anyway, so this is just, you know, the Planeswalker deck card that pulls your Teferi out. So nothing extremely special, but it's pretty cool. The only thing I really wanted to say about it was, like, this one's a creature that pulls it out. Yeah. Whereas in the past, we've always seen spells that pull them out. Next year we got Varric's Bladewing. Now this is a pretty cool card. We've got a lot of kicker cards. Like Kicker is back. Kicker is one of the mechanics in this set. I like Kicker, but you can tell that they didn't really push Kicker an extreme amount. It almost looks like the kicker deck's going to be your ramp deck. You're going to have to ramp into the kicker, but this is one of the better priced kicker cards. But most of them have just ridiculous cost in the first place. Plus, if you were to kick it, it's going to cost like 10 mana or something like that. But this one's actually only 7 with the kick. That's still a lot, okay? That's still a lot. I mean, yeah, we got cards like Into the Royal back, but I mean, the kicker is just, yeah, it's going to give it something if you have that much mana to put into it, but I just don't know how good that's going to be. I know that makes these cards just that much better as a top deck late when you're Hellbent. For those of you that don't know Hellbent's an old mechanic. You had to have 0 cards in hand. We call the Hazard Bent Heck Bent, where you have to have 1 or less cards in hand. So Hellbent would be 0 cards in hand. Heck Bent would be 1 card in hand. But the Bladewing here, 7 mana. I mean, if you pull this late game, you do have 7 mana. You got nothing else to do with your mana. Go ahead, kick it, do your thing. It's just a flying 4/4. But if you did kick it, create Karok's Bladewing. Now, Karok's Bladewing is a legendary 4/4 red dragon creature token with flying. So basically, if you can pay 7 mana instead of 8, you're getting 2 dragons. Like these would be the twin dragons, that, which is pretty cool. I'm gonna say that the picture on this makes this look like the fattest dragon I've ever seen. Like they just made him look all poofy, right? Like is his brother like inside him waiting to come out? Like what's going on? Anyway, not really fond on the dragon art on that one. So like some of you guys may be all about it, but hey, I just don't like the art on that particular dragon. Not very impressive for me, but Hinterland Harbor under $3. That's not bad. Clifftop Retreat, the red-white one under $3. Isolated Chapel, the white-black one, again under $3. To be able to get these lands for under $5 a piece is just absolutely great. Getting a split land that is playable in a standard or something like that. He's Puff the Magic Dragon. You got it. Getting a split land and not having to pay more than $5 a piece for it, that's great. I'm all about that. So it's good to see these down as cheap as $3-4 a piece when sometimes we're gonna need like play sets of these things. So yeah. Next here we have Tishar Ancestor's Apostle. Now, again, it's a bird cleric, good card. I mean, I just don't know if I want to pay 2/2 for 4, but I kind of like the card. Flying, whenever you cast a historic spell, return target creature card with converted mana cost 3 or less from the graveyard to the battlefield. Alright, so yeah, it's weak, it's easy to remove. But I don't know, cast Mox, get back Heart of Kirin. I mean, I don't know. Like the possibilities are just wow. I mean, it's a flying 2/2, so but for 4 mana, you're gonna need to like play this a little bit later. You may not get a lot of time to untap. It does stay under the Revolted Fatal Push umbrella, so it's not like easy, or it's not like hard to kill, but at least it's a 4 mana spell. So they do have to like Revolt a Fatal Push, but Magma Spray and Shock, I believe, are going to get some play, especially with some of the other cards that we talked about earlier. You'd play the Hexproof Angel before you'd play this. Well, it really depends on if you're like throwing things into the graveyard or not. One of the things I would like to say about this card is if I can throw down a single artifact, I could get back, like, I don't know, a Gate to the Afterlife. So if this is a deck where I'm just churning through cards, I'm just dumping stuff into my graveyard and stuff, and I was like, ooh, there went my Gate. If I go to play any other artifact, I'll play Walking Ballista and get back my Gate to the Afterlife directly to the battlefield. Like, it doesn't matter what artifact, what legendary, or what saga this 3 converted mana cost goes straight from your graveyard to the battlefield. You're not casting it. So if you untap with this and can play a couple things and you have a decent graveyard, this will get out of hand really, really quick. However, because it's only a 2/2, it's going to be extremely easy to kill. You think there's a card that if kick gives you 8 token creatures, but you may be wrong. That would be cool. That's pretty cool. Either way, I do think that the Ancestor's Apostle here, Tishar, is fairly decent, and will probably get a little bit of play and maybe even become a build around. Multani, Yavamaya's avatar. Multani, did I say that right? Multani. There's no way I pronounced it right, but it is Yavamaya, right? I have to have said that part right. I've heard it a million times. If not, like, blame Marshall Sycliffe. Yavamaya's avatar here, Multani, is pretty cool. We don't have a lot of reach in standard right now, so here's a 6 mana 0/0. Okay, so Yavamaya's avatar enters or gets +1/+1 for each land you control and each land in your graveyard. Holy cow. Okay, so I was looking for a good card with reach. You read Yavamaya. You ever heard the land Yavamaya's Coast? Like, I've always heard it called Yavamaya's Coast. It's the Pain Land, red or green blue Pain Land, Yavamaya's Coast. I've always heard it said Yavamaya, but yeah. I am Groot. Yeah, this seems pretty good. He does look kind of like Groot. Anyway, all the Painlands. Oh my goodness, all the Painlands are on Dominaria, aren't they? We have Koilos, Yavamaya. I don't remember the others. Caves of Koilos and Yavamaya. That's like it right there. But yeah, I wonder if all of the Painlands, like, are they all different locations on Dominaria? Yeah, it's a magic card. No one will pronounce it the same. Like, Jareth's like, I'm just going to copy and paste this. I know I'm going to use it again. I need to start being like Patrick Chapin and just purposely say things wrong. This is Multini, right? Like, just put an E in there instead of an A. Multani. Multini. Yavamia's Avatar. All right. I had to have gotten it right that time. Anyway, chat's triggered. All right. You can pay 1 green and 1 colorless to return 2 lands you control to their owner's hand. You can return this card from your graveyard to your battlefield. I want this card in my Sultai Reanimator for quite a few play Garruk? Right? Like, that's like caramel and caramel. Like, it's Garruk or Garruk. I can't even argue it. I've heard it said so many times, so many different ways. Shout out to Seth, Saffron Olive. Shout out to Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive. Yeah, he likes to pronounce cards. I think half the time he's trolling us, half the time he's not. But much love to Saffron Olive. He's awesome. He's awesome. He's the master when it comes to streaming here. So, anyway. I think this card's great. I want it in my Reanimator deck, my Sultai Reanimator deck, mainly for the reach effect. Plus, you know, if I'm dumping cards into the graveyard and things like that, this is just really cool. And then, you know, you could always just, you know, pull it back by getting rid of a couple lands you don't need. Next here, we have a card that a lot of people are hyped up. Did I say to the battlefield? I'm sorry. I meant to the hand. But yeah, you get to pull it back and then you can cast it. But in a Reanimator deck, you can use something like Liliana or something to just bring it straight back. I do not know if on that particular card, I'll have to look at the wording and check the layers and everything. But I think that if you bring it back with God Pharaoh's Gift or the Blue Hour or the Scarab God, I don't think that it's... Like, I'll have to go back and look at that wording. Hold on a minute. Let me go back, because I want to know if I bring it back with the Scarab God, does its base power... Oh, yeah. It gets +1/+1 for each. Okay, so yeah, it's going to have a base power of. See, if it was star star, then that would actually get changed to plus to 4/4, but it's not. It's a 0/0, so if you bring it back as a 4/4, then it's still going to get its plus ones. That's going to be great. Hit that like button, or I'll fling a Thraxos at you. That's great. Night Rush. Take care, buddy. Anyway, Rush is like, I'm going to call him Kilo. I like that. That'll work. All right, let's move on to Helm of the Host. Helm of the Host is really good here. I like the card. I like the effect of it. As far as the price of it, I think there's a little bit of hype on it. I think people are going to try to play it, but I think this is a bulk rare. I really do. I mean, it costs 9 mana. I mean, you're investing 9 mana into this thing, but if you ever do actually get to equip things, I mean, you're talking at just, oh man, you'll be able to go completely bonkers with this thing. I don't know. Let's equip Thraxos with it. Let's equip, I don't know, the Scarab God. Let's equip whatever. This is going to be kind of like just pure shenanigans if you can get it equipped. But you're looking at spending a lot of mana to be able to do this. All the Gonties. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Yeah. I mean, and that token gains haste. At the beginning of combat on your turn, create a token that's a copy of target equipped creature. Except the token isn't legendary if the equipped creature is legendary. Now, for one, you do not have to have a legendary creature to equip this to. I mean, you can put this on Glory Bringer if you want, and then get an extra Glory Bringer every turn. That's not bad. I mean, that's not bad at all. So it seems like it's a bad card. I mean, if you drop this on like turn 4, that's a turn 4 do nothing. And then like you're going to have to like play Glorybringer on turn 5 and then try to catch up with Glorybringer's ability. And then on turn 6, you're going to spend 5 of your mana to equip this to that Glorybringer so that you can play, get an extra Glorybringer. Like, I don't know. Like, it's a lot of mana that you're sinking into this when there's probably just a better spell that you could play. But as far as the card itself goes, it's got some really cool effects on it. The fact that it'll give you more than one legendary, because it says if it was legendary, it's not legendary, the token won't be. So that's kind of cool, and the token doesn't go away. Plus, it gives the token haste. So there's a lot of cool things here that you can do with this. But as far as standard playable, I think people are going to try it, but I think it's going to be one of those cards that people have to back off of after some time. Like, you might have this stick around as a one of in a deck or something like that. So maybe, but maybe not. But I agree with what Joey said there, that it's just way bad and expensive for standard. Like, it's just spending 9 mana just to get the equipment. I mean, there's probably less than 9 mana way to just copy a creature. I don't know. It just depends on what you're wanting to copy. I don't know. I don't see this being very good, but could be. I think it's just a bulk rare that people are still kind of hyped about a little bit right now. All right, I know one of you guys was talking about it earlier. Goblin Chain Whirler. This is a cool card right here. I mean, we're getting down to the $2 cards. We're getting down to the bulk playables and things like that. But bulk but playable. Kind of like fringe playable, I guess. Goblin Chain Whirler. I mean, if we do end up with a Goblin deck, this thing is so in there. And I was talking about how sets have the themed cards to them. There'll be one of every color. It looks like one of the themes here is we've got a triple monocolored card. Like, there's a triple white card, there's a triple blue card, a triple green card, and all of them seem to be pretty decent. Well, the same can be said here for the triple red card. It's a 3/3 which passes the vanilla test, first strike, and it enters the battlefield. It deals 1 damage to each opponent and each creature and planeswalker they control. So we're talking about this thing just entering the battlefield, doing a pseudo board wipe against, like, I don't know, something like tokens or some of those kind of strategies. This thing's just going to be really, really good. Can I give my opinion on Liliana Vess's brother? I still don't know how to say his name. I would have to pull up the card to even know know what the card does. Hold on. I will pull it up. I think she has to kill him again. The Lich Knight. All right, so oh yeah, he's another one of those cards with a ridiculous kicker. Um, Enters the battlefield if it was kick, create 8/2/2 black zombie knight creature tokens with menace. Wow, zombies with menace. Zombie knights. Wow. All right. So we're looking at 10 mana to cast this, plus all the X1s already running wild. Oh yeah, yeah, Joey. That the Goblin's going to be great. I think the kicker on this is just going to be ridiculous. And you can't like copy, you can't do like other crazy things and then kick it. Like, so you have to cast it. So you can't even play this on curve and then expect to like kick it. But if you top deck it late, yeah, it's probably just going to like end the game. But otherwise, it's just it's a decent card. It's a 4/5 with menace. That's a pretty good blocker. I mean, we know that turn 4 4/5s are pretty decent, especially when there's something like Ripjaw Raptor that can allow you to draw cards. Honestly, as far as the card itself, I think more times than not, you're just either going to be holding on to it, praying to get to that 10th mana. But most of my games I want to end before turn 10. I don't even want to get a chance to get to 10 mana, so unless you're playing it in some kind of ramp kicker deck, I just don't think this card's playable. Alright, back to Goblin Chain Whirler. Yeah, it's a pseudo board wipe. It's going to deal with all those X1s. It's going to deal with all those tokens and things like that. I think the card's absolutely terrific. So, you know, that's cool. Next here we've got Torgon Famine Incarnate. Torgon Famine Incarnate is it's an okay card. We've seen the effects like this before. So it's an 8 mana spell, but as an additional cost to cast this spell, you may sacrifice any number of creatures. All right, so it's black 6. If you can sacrifice 3 creatures, this 7/6 will only be black. So you can sacrifice any number of creatures. This spell costs 2 less to cast for each creature cast this way. So maybe each creature sacrificed this way. Man, I butchered that so bad, right? When it enters the battlefield, up to one target player's life total becomes half their starting life total rounded down. Now, one of the tricks that you could use this for is like you may be at 3 or 4 life, cast this thing late, and all of a sudden say, I think I want my life total to go back to 10. Or you might be able to get away with, I don't know, turn 1, play a Sacred Cat, like in a black-white deck or something like that. Turn 2, Servo Expedition. Turn 3, play this swing, then sacrifice your dudes on second main phase, play this. Although there's no point in swinging if you're just going to reduce the life total after the fact, right? So, yeah. I don't know. I don't know if this card gets any play or not, but I kind of like the avatar. I think it's pretty decent. I like the effect of how you can cheapen it, and if you can get away with a 2 mana 7/6, that's pretty decent. It also trades with Carnage Tyrant. Yeah, you're going to take a point of damage on the overflow, but it trades with Carnage Tyrant. That's not bad. Looks like Bozak control win con. Looks like a Bozak control win con. Bozak was a person we used to play, but yeah, it's pretty. It might be playable. I actually think the card might get a little play. Wow, here's the vest card we were talking about. Yeah, again, I just don't think the card's that great, but on curve it's not bad. 4 mana 4/5 is not overly horrible. Nabin, Dean of Iteration. All right. So here's a 2/1 wizard, and it's a 2 mana legendary, which is relevant for something like Mox. If a wizard entering the battlefield under your control causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. So, okay. I'm going to have to look and see if this stacks with something like Panharmonicon, where it enters the battlefield and that causes, I don't know, anything to trigger. But basically, all of your wizards with enter the battlefield effects, you're going to get double the enter the battlefield effects from your wizards. So, 2 mana, 2/1. I think it's well priced. I think it has a really good effect on it. People really loved like Panharmonicon and things like that. So, you can trigger the triggers that's already been triggered. Yeah, but none of the sagas are wizards. Like, so I was talking about in the sagas, you can't trigger the trigger that's already been triggered. Um, I don't know why I come up with that. Yeah, this is only when a wizard enters the battlefield. So if this is on the battlefield, and let's say you played Snapcaster Mage, right? It's a human wizard, right? Yeah. Let's say you played Snapcaster Mage. You would all of a sudden be able to cast 2 spells from your graveyard. That's not horrible. That's not horrible at all. I love the flavor text on it. Like he's a dean. I personally think that this is what they should have named Tolarian Tutor or Tolarian Scholar or whatever. This should have been the Tolarian Scholar. It should have been Neban Tolarian Scholar or Teacher or something like that. But he's the dean of iteration, and the flavor is so good. Perfect. Now do it again. I love it. I love it. All right, next here we've got the Antiquities War. Now this is the second saga we've seen. So we've got one saga up at the very top of the list, and now we're getting down to the other sagas at the third saga we've seen. We did have the Phyrexian Scriptures about midway down the list, but so we went white, black, and then blue on the saga's price point. So this one, you'll look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal an artifact card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So you'll shuffle and then put that back, and then you'll pass turn. They'll pass back. You'll untap, upkeep, draw. Then look at the top 5, grab another card, put the rest on the bottom of your library, and then move on into your move on into your first main phase. Now, on the third one is when you get a different ability. Artifacts you control become artifact creatures with base power and toughness 5/5 until end of turn. This is kind of just one of those all-around Tezzeret cards. It's almost like Tezzeret on the card. You're going to be able to look, search for or kind of dig for an artifact, and then the next turn you're going to be able to dig for another artifact, plus you'll have your mana open to play some stuff, and then the turn after that, all of your artifacts, which, by the way, because you haven't gotten into main phase unless you have a way to give them flash, that will give enough time to remove the summoning sickness. So even if you do have flash and like you flashed one in and your upkeep, remember the artifact that came in that turn would still have summoning sickness. But for the most part, you're just going to be playing those artifacts from the previous turn, or making the artifacts from the previous turn as into 5/5s. Also, if you do end up playing an artifact during your main phase, it will not have been there to see the effect of becoming a 5/5. So, yeah, that's how that one works, and it's kind of cool. It's definitely going to allow us to get a little bit of dig, and yeah, give us even a win con after the fact. I think 4 mana is a decent price for it. I actually expect this card to get a little bit of play in some specific decks. So. Next, we've got the green one. Now, this one's fairly decent. The Mending of Dominaria. You're going to, for the first 2 chapters of this saga, you're going to put top 2 cards of your library into your graveyard. Then you may return a creature card from your graveyard to your hand. So that's not absolutely horrible. You're going to churn through and then get some pick of your own. Now, remember, you can return a card that's not necessarily. Is manatraders trade down? I don't know. I didn't even check. But putting the top 2 cards into your graveyard and then getting a card back, that doesn't mean that you're necessarily going to have to get one of the 2 cards that you just put into your graveyard back. You could get something that was dumped early on like turn 2 or turn 3 or something like that. So it doesn't matter when that card entered, you're going to be able to get that back. The third one is return all land cards from your graveyard to the battlefield, then shuffle your library shuffle your graveyard into your library. So if you have a way to just absolutely churn your deck I'm thinking of Ipnu Rivulet. Seems like it's going to be really good with this because Ipnu Rivulet's going to allow you to dump 4 cards from your graveyard, your library into your graveyard. Plus, it's going to put the Ipnu Rivulet into the graveyard. So, along with the mill that you're going to get off the Mending of Dominaria, you're going to throw some cards into the grave, and then all of a sudden you're going to get your Ipnu and all the other lands back. So you might get some kind of nice ramp out of that, but it really sounds like a Splendid Reclamation trap. So if any of you remembered Splendid Reclamation, yeah, it was a trap. So a Wizard Harmonicon deck. What a picture, right? I got you, Barry. Wizard Harmonicon. That's exactly what that card would have been. Perpetual Timepiece. Yeah, okay, so it kind of works like that. I mean, you are shuffling your graveyard into your library, so I don't know exactly where you want to go with that, but yeah, pretty cool. I think it's pretty decent anyway. There might be some niche decks that could run it, but you know. Next here, we don't have many more I want to cover. We're getting down into the point of most of these cards are just not extremely playable, but I'm pronouncing this as Marwyn because like the game Morrowind. So Marwyn the Nurturer. Marwyn the Nurturer is a legendary 3-mana elf druid, and again, cheap card. Whenever another elf enters the battlefield under your control, put a 1/1 counter on Morrowind the Nurturer. Tap, add an amount of green to your mana pool equal to Morrowind's power. Now, if when another elf enters the battlefield, you're gonna put a counter. Bam, bam, bam. So this card might get some play, but in modern, I think that I don't think that anyone's going to be wanting to play other 3-mana elves in modern, no matter what they do. But if we do have a standard elf deck, this could be really, really good, especially if you can get it down and then like just dump your hand and make this fairly large. By the time that you get through spending all of your mana on turn 4 to play all of your cheap elves, you could probably end up tapping this to play something else fairly large. So I don't know exactly how that's going to work, but depending on how like an elf deck does start to pop up over time, I think this is going to be pretty good. Put a copy of an equipment on her, make a bunch of her. What? Oh, Garna? Did I pass Garna? Or it's like she's on down? You guys probably got ahead of me, right? Karn's Temporal Sundering. No, this is a cool little card that I think's alright. I mean, it's a 6-mana card, and it's a legendary sorcery. Now, this is the first one of the legendary sorceries that we've come across so far, as most people are kind of weary on them, because if you can kill the legendary, then you can't cast it. But it's pretty simple here. 6 mana, target player takes an extra turn. After this one, return up to one target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. Exile Karn's Temporal Summoning. If you can remove like something that they spent their entire last turn on, wow, 083, thank you for subscribing. If you can return what they spent their entire last turn on, then you take an extra turn the next turn. That's kind of like taking 2 turns, so that's pretty good. Ambrose, you think Garna has potential? Where's Garna, Ambrose? Where's Garna? The Black Blade Reforged, this may get play. I think it for lore more than anything else. The the Marshall's okay. This is the white one of the triple monocolored. I don't know how to say triple pip. But other creatures you control get +1/+1. It's just a killable anthem, but at least he's a 3/3 for 3. And then from here again, we are getting on into more niche cards, and there's a lot of commons and uncommons that I'm not going to go into today. Like, these are just kind of the rares that we were talking about. But yeah, pretty much there are going to be some cards that will get some play from here on forward, but I don't really think that anything below this price point is something that we should really be worrying about. There might be some sleepers down here. So I am going to take a couple suggestions from you guys. Like, if you want me to pull up a particular card, I'll look at it. What is Garna? What is, let's see, Garna. Is Garna a legendary, a multicolored legendary? Grand Warlord Rada. Oh, Oath of Teferi. Um, this was not on the list. We didn't really talk about it, but when Oath of Teferi enters the battlefield, exile another target permanent you control, return it to the battlefield under your owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. Now, this is a way you can actually blink a saga, and because the saga left the battlefield and came back, it's technically a new saga, and then at that point you can trigger the trigger that has already been triggered. Um, Kill the legendary creature or planeswalker in response of a legendary spells doesn't counter it. No, because you can't even put it on the stack without that. Once it's on the stack, it will resolve, but without a legendary, you can't actually put it on the stack. So remember, they are all sorceries, so if you are worried that a sorcery is about to come, you will be able to... it's a Rakdos uncommon. Okay. If you do go to, like, if you think they're going to be casting a legendary sorcery the next turn, you can always just remove it in their upkeep, and then they can't cast it. So because they are sorceries, they do have to actually get into their main phase. So Rakdos. So it is. Let me jump down here. We'll find it real quick. You say it's a Rakdos. Oh, here we go. Garna the Blood Flame. Alright, so Garna is a 5 mana 3/3 with flash. When Garna the Blood Flame enters the battlefield, return to your hand all creature cards in your graveyard that were put in there from anywhere this turn. Other creatures you control have haste. Oh, wow. So this is like board wipe protection. So, okay, I'm going to add some stuff to the board. Now I'm just going to sit back on my Garna, and if you go to, fumigate me, fumigate, if you go to cast Fumigate, then I'll just play this at end of turn. I still have a 3/3, and I'm going to get back all those other cards, and if I can untap, upkeep, draw, main phase, start dropping them, yeah. Take that, Fumigate. Right? That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. Yeah, okay. I think that'll get a little bit of play. Depends on if there's like a red-black aggro deck that can get away with it or not. But overall, there's a bunch of common and uncommons that I think are going to get some serious play. I just kind of wanted to go over the rares, the ones that are going to be expensive. If we're talking about commons and uncommons that are going to get play, that's fine. Unless there's a common or uncommon that... a common or uncommon that is going to go into modern or vintage or legacy, something like a Fatal Push, which I didn't see when I went through here. I don't think there's any anything that is just like broken good at like 1 or 2 mana that is going to like just take over like all the current cards that have its effect in the past. Yeah. Fumigate rotates. Yeah. Yeah, Settle would get rid of it because they're not going to your graveyard. But Settle and Fumigate are gone. The only thing that we're going to be left with in October is going to be Rivals. Or sorry, Ixalan, Rivals, Dominaria, Corset, and then whatever comes out, the week of the rotation. So you like the Sultai guy? Looks cool. I think so too. The Jun guy is awesome. The Sultai guy is awesome. Jorah's cool. Firesong the Sunspeaker. I think people are going to be playing around with this. I just think it's a Minotaur cleric. Red instants and sorceries you control have lifelink. White instants and sorceries you control, like whenever you gain a life from an instance or sorcery, or sorry, whenever a white instance or sorcery instant or sorcery causes you to gain life, Firesong the Sunspeaker deals that much damage to target creature or player. So white life gain spells will cause you to do damage, and red instants and sorceries will cause you to gain life. That's pretty good. I think it's going to be a cool Boros commander or something like that. So anyway, guys, that's going to be the show for tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun just kind of going over these decks and talking to you guys about it, and hearing some of your guys' feedback on some of these cards. I know it's not our typical gameplay, but I mean this is the week before the pre-release, and let's face it, who's really worried about what's currently going on in standard when we know, next Friday will be the last week that you can play anything anyway. I think it's time to actually really start brewing and start thinking about what is going to, like, theoretical brewing, theory crafting. I think it's starting to start time to start bouncing ideas off of each other and stuff, and see where we can go. So let me know in the comments what you think about some of the cards. Again, I only covered the more expensive cards, the cards that people thought was would get some hype, or and that's the reason that certain cards have a higher price point, is because the pre-orders are already there. So these are the cards that should be affecting standard, or at least in the first couple weeks. I expect that after Dominaria comes out, I'll do a video or something on price changes, like cards that fluctuated, cards that were pre-ordering at a pretty high price, and then all of a sudden, they've dropped, and then cards that were really low kind of rose up, that sort of thing. So yeah, I plan on doing that. I think tomorrow night I'm going to be talking about the commons and uncommons, and then other than that, that'll be our week. I hope you guys had a lot of fun. I know I had a lot of fun. Stick around for the credits, and we'll see you next time here on Sideboard MTG.